So I want you to start by entering this into your calculator. No matter if you've done it or not, enter this into your calculator. So you go y equals. We clear whatever's there. Okay. I never told you how to speed up the graph yesterday, did I? Yesterday was one of those days where I forgot a lot of things. So anyways, once you've got this entered, hit graph. For me, that works pretty good, but I have to say my window is different than yours. So please don't think that you have a different graph. You're just looking at it from a different perspective, okay guys? It's just your window is different. I'm gonna match yours, so I'm gonna go zoom 6. Zoom 6 is your standard zoom, and it does a pretty good job here, right? Mr. Dixon, how do you know? I've got both x-intercept, I can kind of see my y-intercept, and I see the vertex, so I'm good to go. That's what you're looking for. What else are we going to do here? Oh yeah, how to speed up your graph. So if yours is slow, if your graphing is super slow, you want to do this. I think you got to go to mode. No, it's not mode. Let me play around with it a bit here. Yeah, so you got to press second and then zoom. Second zoom, you should see this screen right here. And what you want to turn off, you basically want to match what I have here, but most importantly, the last item where it says detect asymptotes. Don't worry about it. You won't need to know what that is until next year. You want to turn that off. So you basically want to go to off and hit enter, and that's going to speed up the graphing for you, hopefully. If it doesn't do it, I would have to look into it further. Okay. Anyways, then you hit graph, and next time around it should graph it a little faster. Another thing, okay, listen carefully to this part. If you're ever lost somewhere and you want to go back to the home screen, you just go second mode, right? It quits, gets you to the home screen. That's always important to remember, okay? So graph. So first, before I answer, what form is this in? Before we even graph, we should be able to answer this. This is vertex form. How do I know it's vertex? Because it's got only one set of brackets. The other one is factored, right? And if it doesn't have brackets, it's general. Which way is it opening? It's up, obviously, Mr. Erickson, because C, right? No, don't worry about that. We'll worry about that later. We know that it's up because A is positive. A is right in front of that bracket right there. You can go ahead and add that to your booklet. What's the width of this parabola? It's normal. It's what we call normal. And that's when A is equal to 1, like that value is 1. Y-intercept, 0, -7, right? Because, right, remember, no, it's not in general, so you got to use your calculator for that. So let's put in the keystrokes here. We got to go second, trace, value, and then we make x equal to 0. So go ahead and do that. Second, trace 1 for value, x is equal to 0, and I get 9. That's what you should be getting, okay? So the coordinate is 0, 9. It gives you the x value and the y value, okay? And it should be blinking up here. If you get an error message, listen to this carefully, it most likely is that it cannot get to it. You have to change your window a little bit. You have to change your Y max. Okay? That's probably why it's saying that. Okay, we've got our y-intercept. The vertex, let's find it. What do we press in this case to get our vertex? Second trace. I'll press that. And you have to pick between max and min. We know that this is pointing up, correct? Let's go back to this opening part. We know it's doing this. So there has to be a min, right? It has to be the min. So I'm going to actually just go min here, minimum. So let's select minimum and just follow the prompts, okay? So this is my vertex where my pencil is located. I need something to the left of it. I'm already to the left of it in my case. I just hit enter. Then I'm going to travel all the way past it to the right side of the vertex. That's my right boundary. Hit enter. And then enter one more time. Guess is always just enter. Okay. So there it is. It's 4, -7. 4, -7. Do you see something? Do you see these numbers in the original equation? This had a -4 here, and it turned into +4, right? This was a -7, it stayed -7, right? This is the vertex form. Keep your finger on this page. Let's just go back in time a little bit to page 3. If you notice this, you're going to be able to predict. Remember when it's in vertex form on page 3? When it's in this format, you can figure out the vertex just by looking at your equation. And so basically whatever h is, whatever this number is, you change the sign, but k stays as is. You don't change the sign for k. All right? Okay? Anyways, there we go. Let's continue our journey. Axis of symmetry and equation of max or min. That is just the, this is going to be a vertical line. So it's x is equal to 4. The equation of the minimum, circle min, it's going to be y is equal to -7. So I basically take the -7 and I take the 4 to come up with those answers. Okay, those are imaginary lines. We don't include them in our graphs, but it's a concept you need to know. X-intercepts. For that one, we let y equals 2 equal to 0. Then we go second, trace, intersect. Okay, second, trace, intersect. It's important that you make y2 equal to 0. Mr. Dixon, could I go and make y5 equal to 0? Yes. It doesn't always have to be y2. Whichever one you want, just graph a line that is y equals 0. Let's hit graph. So you press y equals, y2 is equal to 0. Press graph, otherwise this will not work. Then you got to go second, trace, intersect, right? That fifth option. Just go close enough. That's close enough there. Enter, enter, enter 3 times. So the first one is 1.350. And the second one, we have to repeat the process. Second, trace. I just press 5. I don't go intersect. I don't scroll down anymore. Go closer to that one. Enter, enter, enter. That's 6.65. Okay? We're good? Yeah. Okay. Let me just finish this and I'll... What's the domain for this one? You should do this with the eyes closed, okay? That would have been okay in grade 10. No brackets, but we're in grade 11. Applied. So you need to make sure you're saying all values. X can be any value you can think of because it opens up indefinitely. Negative, positive, decimal, fraction, anything goes for X. The range, how would you do that one? Let's look at our graph here real quick. Y has to be greater than or equal to that lowest point. So, greater than or equal to the y value of the vertex. So this is what you would want as set notation. When it comes to interval, you want to go from -7 all the way to positive infinity, round bracket. So the range is a little different there. Okay, we're going to graph it. Problems, but we'll deal with it when we get there, okay? Now let's sketch this. I want you to add this to your notes before we sketch, okay? A good graph has to have the following components. For graphs, include, and this goes for next year as well. Okay, you want to include all intercepts, if applicable. Sometimes there is no x-intercept, so then that becomes a problem. Another one is the vertex. You want to have the vertex. You want to have a good scale. You want that to be consistent. If I see you going up by 5s and all of a sudden you switch it up and go up by 10 to make it fit, that's going to be -1, right? So scales are very important. Labels. Okay, labels. So what does that mean? It has two components. You want the equation. I'm just going to go EQN. And axes has to be labeled. So for now, it's just X and Y. Later on, it's going to be time and height, distance and height. It's going to be different. It's going to be called different, and it's going to have units. Can I also add units as well? Make sure you add units because that's going to come in later. And arrows, if applicable. Okay? This is boxed in and highlighted. Okay, I would add this to my study sheet. And do not throw away your study sheet until you're done grade 12 applied. Okay? Because you most likely will go back to this and refer to some of the things you've learned here, especially when it comes to graphing and using your calculator. So these are the things I'm going to be looking for when you graph. This is my rubric. Okay, this is what I go by. Now let's go ahead and do it. Let's go to the graph. We got it. And I'm gracious and I provided you a grid, but I won't always, okay? This is just to practice. So I would definitely mark my X and Y axis, label it. We have no units right now, so it's just X and Y. And you want to look at your points to make sure you can fit them. So my y-intercept, for example, 0.9 is a very easy number to fit. It's not too large. My vertex is also fairly small. The numbers are small. And my intercepts are also very small, so I don't need to go too big with my scale. In fact, let me see how I will work this. I think I'm just going to go 2, 4, 6, 8. Just be consistent. If you picked a different scale as you were doing your homework, that is completely fine. As long as it's consistent, we're fine. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6. Mr. Dirksen, what if I go up by 3s? That is fine, as long as it's consistent, right? That is the theme, consistency. I use the same scale on my y-axis as I do on my x, so that's good. So 0.9, if this would be 7 in between 8, so 9 is right way up here for me, okay? You don't need to label it if it's already somewhere on the side. If you've determined that that's what it is, just put a dot. And then 4, 7, for -7, that'd be 4 here. -7 would be down here for me. Okay, 0.9, and then what else do I have? My x-intercepts. So 1.35, this would be 1. 1.35 is somewhere in there. I'm not kidding when I say this. Close enough is good enough. If you're way off, then you lose marks. But if you're close, we honor it, okay? 6.65, this would be 7 here. So 6.65 is somewhere there. And you've had everything you need to graph. So I go to my vertex, I just go out slightly, and then I kind of curve up. And this is a little bit of an art. Just whatever you do, move out, don't move back in. Make an indication that your arm is extending to the left indefinitely. And then I go here And I know we don't have much to go by, so I'm just gonna stop it right there. That is a pretty good graph. I have my vertex, I have the intercepts. Label, I need the equation, so I'm gonna go y is equal to x minus 4 squared minus 7. Okay? Arrows are there, everything is there. We're done. We're done. And I'm going to introduce one more concept here. When we type in second trace value x is equal to 0, that's just the one I'm using right now, but you don't have to put in 0, just so you know. You can put in any value you want. So for example, grab your calculator. We're going to go second trace value. And x is saying, hey, give me an x value. You know what? Let's try to put in 8. You see how we're x is equal to 8? Let's put in 8 there. Hit enter. What do you get? 9. So technically, 8 should have been way up here matching this one here. Technically. We're going to pretend like that didn't happen today, okay? And in fact, that's okay to be off by a little bit as long as you have these points, the intercepts, clearly identified, okay? But this function helps you find more points that you might need in the future, okay? You could go, watch this, second trace 1, x is equal to 100. Could you do that? Yes, you could. Let's see what happens. What does it say? Invalid. It's too far out. What would you have to do to make that appear? You would have to change your window parameters, like your x max and your y max has to be increased there. Anyways, let's keep going. Let's go to 11. Just show of hands, how many of you did page 11 already? Some of you are like, sort of. Okay. I'll give you a little bit of time to do 11. If you're done 11, just hang in there. I want you to do what we just did. Don't graph it just yet. Just make sure you fill in this chart. That's all I want you to do for now. Okay? If you're already done, if you did page 11, I'm going to invite you to try. I'm skipping a few pages. Page 19. If you're done page 11, you can go ahead 19. You're doing the same thing. Just filling in the table. Okay? Make sure your phones are put away. Okay, so I haven't done this yet, so I'm going to enter it. I'm going to let y2 equal to 0. I'm going to leave it there. Okay, first things first. The only time, listen carefully, the only time you're going to use this negative button here is if it's the first number, like the leading coefficient, a. All right? Everything else is just going to get a minus. Okay, so if you get that wrong, the whole thing, it's a totally different equation. So you need to make sure you understand that. Hit graph. This is probably what most of you started seeing, right? You just saw this. That's where it's super important that you know, this is factored form, by the way. Opening is going to be up because A is right here and it's positive. Okay, so I know it's this. Two things stand out from this. I know the shape, and I know that the vertex is a min, right? You know it. It's a min. It's the lowest point. Okay? So what's the width? A is equal to 1, so this is just a normal width, right? A is not even visible, but it's 1. We know it. Y-intercept. That's where you need to show me the keystrokes. You cannot just give me the number on a test quiz AC. If you use your calculator, the minimum you have to tell me is second trace value x is equal to 0. That's all. Like if you do that, that's showing your work. So second, sorry, I'm speeding up here, sorry. First thing you need to do is making sure, I help so many of you get the window right that I forgot to do it myself. Window, okay, very important. You need to understand that, right, this is your y min. Maybe copy this down one more time. Y max. And this is your x max, because if you get this wrong, if you mix up these parameters, you're going to get a math error or some sort of error on your screen. You're going to be frustrated. Zoom 6 is going to rescue you, then start again. If your window isn't working, zoom 6 to reset it, then start changing numbers again, okay? I'm going to go to my window and change my Y min first and foremost. I helped a bunch of you already so that I know that 150 works pretty well. Negative 150, not minus. You hit graph. I see my vertex. I see this is as low as I need to go. I'm good with the Y min. Now I'm going to change my X min. Okay? X min, I'm going to try negative 30. I feel like that's going to work. If you go negative 100, it still works, but it's a little bit overkill. So just think about it. If this is negative 100, then this is negative 50 right about there. That would have been more than enough, okay? Hit graph. So now we find our y-intercept. Second trace value, x is equal to 0. Look at that. My y-intercept is negative 120, okay? So that means it's 0, negative 120. So it's way down there. Okay, yeah.
You don't have to show that if you like anything on general.
Then that's your work. You did that, Sean?
Yeah.
I actually appreciate you bringing that in. So Sean, sorry Sean, I'm picking on you. He foiled this out and turned it into general form. And then he picked that last number, which was negative 120. No problem. So that's also showing work, okay? I like using my calculator if at all possible, so I will just stick with this, okay? Good point. Vertex. Second, trace. Is it max or min again? It's min, right? We already determined that. If you use max, listen carefully, the calculator will try to find it, and it will give you a number. It will be completely wrong, okay? So you gotta make sure you pick the right one. Second trace min. This is my vertex. I need to pick a point to the left. Sometimes, watch carefully, this can easily happen to you. The cursor won't be on the screen. I went off screen right now. You don't know where it is. Just look at the coordinates here. As you move left or right, I'm seeing, if I go right, I'm seeing this number coming down. So that means that it's going to appear there. There we go, it's there. So don't be panicking if it's not there. So left bound, enter, crossover, enter, enter one more time. So it's negative, watch the sign, negative 3.5, negative 3.5, negative 132.25. So we know that this is correct based on the where it's located. Axis of symmetry, equation of min. What's the x-intercept? We're going to go find it. This is how you show your work. y2 is equal to 0. Second, trace 5. I'm okay with you just saying second trace 5 at that point. So I'm going to y equals, y2 is equal to 0. You have to hit graph or else it won't do it. Okay? Second trace 5. Go to the one you want to find first. Enter, enter, enter. So you've got negative 15, 0. Then second trace 5. I'm going to go all the way over to the other side. That's close enough. Enter, enter, enter. That's 8, 0. Does anybody see these numbers on the original equation? The negative 15 and the 8, or particularly 15 and 8, does it show up?
Yeah.
You see it? Sorry. it's actually the 8 is there, the 15 is there, but what happened to those two numbers when we brought them in here? What happened to their signs? They switched, right? 15 was positive up here, it's negative here. 8 was negative up there, it was positive here. So if you remember that, you can actually find the x-intercepts just like that, if you recognize it, okay? Go to page 3, I showed you that, and page 3 shows you that that is a possibility, okay? Domain, eyes closed for now, it's all real numbers. The range, it goes up, right? So it'll be y is greater than or equal to negative 132.25, squiggly brackets like that. What's that? Oh, it's not showing. Sorry, guys. That's the range in set notation. If you want to go interval, it's from all the way down there. Square brackets. That's where it starts. And then it goes indefinitely up. Okay? So we know that that's the range. So let's graph this now. And then it's AC time. If you don't finish it in class, then you'll just get to take it home, okay? That's fine. Okay, so sketching time. Make sure you put arrowheads everywhere on your axes, right? And you call it X and Y, you've labeled, okay? Then you gotta come up with an appropriate scale. I noticed that my Y is gonna be the biggest problem. I need to go all the way down to negative 20 for the y-intercept and negative 132 for my vertex, right? So let's see what works here. If I go 50, 100, negative 50. So if I go by 50s, I'm going to make sure that works, okay? So that's my scale here. So 50s there. And along the x-axis, watch this, you can pick whatever you want. You could probably get away with 1. No, not really, because you have a negative 15 here. So 2, 4, 6, 8, that doesn't work. I'm going to go negative 5, negative 10, so I'm going by 5s here. And same with the positives. So make sure the scale is the same along the axes, okay? And let's plot. 0, negative 120 is right there. The vertex is negative 3.5, negative 3.5, negative 132. So somewhere in here. It's a little lower than the y-intercept. Then my x and y-intercepts. One is at negative 15, 0. And the other one is at 8, 0, right here. And now you have everything you need to sketch it, right? So you go vertex, just like that. And don't forget your equation, f of x is equal to x minus 8, x plus 15. Okay. And that is a graph that would get you full marks, okay? And please make sure it matches your screen. If your screen is pointing up but this is pointing down, come on guys, right? Like you gotta go and check what went wrong, okay? One more feature, ready for this feature? I'm gonna introduce a zoom to you, a zoom feature. You can actually play around with them whenever you have time to do so. Press zoom, and I'm going to introduce to you zoom fit. So zoom fit doesn't show up at first, but if you go all the way down and keep going down, it's option number 0, zoom fit. Hit enter at this point. See what happens with the function you have on your screen right now. I'm going to hit enter. It does a pretty good job 80% of the time of at least finding most of what you need. So if you press zoom fit, it will try to fit the curve, but obviously we have a bit of a problem here. The vertex is very close to the Y min, so you might have to lower it a little bit more from there, right? But zoom fit might help you at certain times when you just cannot do it. Try zoom fit. If zoom fit is terrible, what are you gonna do? What's the default to reset your window? If zoom fit doesn't work for you? Zoom 6. You wish you could just do undo, right? Undo, go back. Maybe when your kids come through the system, we'll have calculators like that. Okay, so I'll give you the AC. So on top of that though, page 19, just fill in chart. I need you to be able to extract information from the ugliest equation I could possibly give to you. I need you to extract information from it. Okay? So, this has my beautiful handwriting on it, so I apologize already. But this is due tomorrow if you don't finish it today. Okay? Here on the video so whoever is watching it can follow along. There we go.